everybody. Happy Wednesday. I'm really getting used to saying that now. It takes me a little bit to get used to that. So just a second here, let me get my comments back up here. How is everybody this evening? Who's talking to me? I can't see. So there's a little StreamYard asks you for a name, or it asks you to okay if your name's seen. So I'll put that link up again so that people can do that if you're okay with that. Otherwise, I don't see your names. I just see Facebook user. So I'm trying to keep track over here who is talking to me. So I know that I haven't put it up for a little while, so I will do that next week. Okay, so if you don't mind me seeing your name, it doesn't come through StreamYard unless you tell Facebook it's okay. So it helps me because then I can see your names over here and over here. So we'll see how that goes. I'll post that next week again, okay, to see if people can find that little link. So how is everybody this evening? It's been a nice, beautiful day. It was very warm in my sewing room when I got home, though, because the sun comes in my west windows and it gets so warm in here. So I came in and it was like 85 degrees in my sewing room. So it is cooling down now, so I'm more comfortable. But so who's all here? Hi, everybody. Oh, there's people here. So tonight we're going to work on our cutie, and we're going to do the embroidery tonight, and then I'm going to show you how to do the little bit of let's make sure I've got my glue gun on over here. I think so. Yep. We're going to do a little bit of decoration on the little witches hats, okay, and then I'm going to show you how to use the bow maker. If you haven't seen the bow maker before, we're going to look at that tonight too. And then we're going to talk next week. We're going to do some work in Design Center in the machine, or IQ Designer in the machine. And we're going to make the little, I'm going to show everybody how to make the little, we sewed this on Sew Along with Jan, we sewed this on Shields Live. So we're going to do this. I'm going to show you how to make this on in Design Center. Okay. Oh yeah. So the bow maker. Yep. I'll show you the bow maker here in a little bit. Yep, we'll do that at the end. We'll show you the bow maker. It's really fun. But anyway, I'm going to show you how to do this. Let me get my banner turned off here for a minute. A second here. All right. Got to get back to the comments. Okay. So this will be next week. So next week at 7:00, we will learn how I made this little ironing pad. This is the little ironing pad that we sewed out on Shields Live a few weeks ago. And then I'm going to show you how I made it in Design Center. So we'll do that. Oh, hi, everybody. We have a few new people. They were emailing me, asking me to approve them. So for the Facebook thing, it's very important if people ask you to ask you questions, make sure you fill all the questions out and then approve or accept the rules of the groups. So that way you'll get accepted right away. So, okay. So make sure if you're joining other groups that you read all the rules and you accept them and then you answer all the questions. So, cause I don't let people in that don't answer the questions and accept the rules. So thanks for your help today. Oh, cool. All right. So this is the next week's class. This will be the little ironing pad. Yes, there is a list of supplies. Okay, so you can get the design for this if you go to Sew Along with Jan, the Facebook group. Okay, that's where you're watching me right now. The very first post, there is a Dropbox link, and it's under the sewing embroidery link, and then this is in there. Okay. You can get, and then it has all the instructions on sewing it. And I also just added the instructions for making it in Design Center. So it's there. If you watch the video of sewing this on Shields Live on my YouTube channel, It's on YouTube, and then under the playlist Shields Live, there's a link right underneath the video in the description to this. So you can get the instructions and the supply list. Okay, so this will be next week's class. All right. And then tonight we're going to be doing, let me get my stuff here. I wanted to show you a couple things too. So, okay. So remember, at the end of class, there will be a drawing for a giveaway. Okay. And this is tonight's giveaway. It's with a grateful heart. We give thanks. I made several of these a couple of years ago, and I have like 5 of them. I don't know why I made so many, but I did. So anyway, this is a nice little wall hanging. It has it actually fits on one of those Ackfeld metal stands that is like 12 by 12. And so, or you can just hang it up. It does have a sleeve on the back. Okay. So this is the giveaway tonight. So you get entered to win this by making comments. Okay. So make sure you comment, and then you will get in the drawing to win with the grateful heart. Okay. This was a class we did. It's been a couple of years ago now. This was fun. We did it in September or October. Okay. So this is going to be the giveaway this time. So that's how you enter to win by making comments. Okay. So I'll show you that. Let me lay this over here. And then next month for the cutie, we're going to be doing November. So the November one is going to be the pumpkins. I like the pumpkins, and they're so cute. They have like 3 pieces of fabric in there. And then I made some little bows with the jute. And I actually did those on the bow maker too. So we'll do the bow maker again next month. Okay. So this is going to be the cutie for next month. This will be November's that we'll do in October. Okay. So let me lay this over here. And then this month, of course, we're doing, let me get the finished one here. This is the one we're going to do tonight. This is what we're doing tonight. So this will be the little witch's hat. And then I'm going to show you how to use the bow maker and put the little hat band on. Okay. So I made the hat band differently than they did in the instructions. Oh, cool. You found it. Awesome. That's great. So this is what we're going to work on tonight. We're going to do the embroidery on the little hats. Okay. This is the witch's hats. And so I'll lay this one here so I can remember what I did. Okay. This is the one we're going to work on. But I wanted to show you, did everybody see the post that I put up for the October class? So in October, I've been wanting to make that Christmas tree advent calendar in the scan and cut, and it's a paper project. And so we're going to make that in October. So I listed that. I think it's October. What's the date? I don't remember. Anybody remember? October 25th, I believe. Yep. October 25th. We're going to do this little project, but I wanted you to see how big it is. You probably can't tell too much from the picture. So let me hold it and then you'll be able to see how big it is. So this is the scan and cut. This is the scan and cut. Hopefully, if I hold it back, can you tell how big it is? It's pretty good size. And this is going to be the project and it's an advent calendar. So you can see all the numbers on it and the little star at the top. Okay. And then all the little drawers pop out so you can put little gifts in them. And they're pretty good size. The drawers are pretty good sized. So you can put a little gift in them. They're probably, you see how long they are? And they're about 1 and 3/4 by like 2 1/4. So you can, yes. So this is in Canvas Workspace. It's a free design. You can just go to Canvas Workspace and you'll have to hunt down a little bit because it's an older one. But this was really fun. It did take a little while. I'll just warn you, but it is very fun and not hard. It just takes a while because, there's a lot of pieces here to cut out. So anyway, this is going to be in October. So I had a lot of fun making this weekend. The only thing that was a little hard, that star was a little hard to get folded, but it turned out pretty good. So anyway, so that's the project for October. Okay. So you can kind of see it's about 19 inches tall to the top of the star, just so you know. So if you don't have a scan and cut, it's still fun to watch. It is a scan and cut project, and I do some scan and cut stuff because a lot of us have scan and cut. So if you don't have one, it's still a fun project to watch to see how it goes together because it's really fun. So, all right, so that's one of the things I wanted to show you. I'll set this over here. All right. So as everybody gets ready to do some, yeah, it came up. If there's a little search box when you go to Canvas Workspace at the top, if you just type in Advent Calendar, it'll come right up, and then you don't have to try to find it. It's way down towards the bottom because it's an older one. The numbers are not in order. No, the numbers are all, you could put them in order if you wanted, but I kind of did it the way they did it, so they were all kind of all over the place. Okay, so you can just do them any way you want to. All right. Okay. So we're going to do some embroidery tonight on our little table topper here. So I'm going to switch my camera down. So give me a second here. Got to click the right buttons. All right. A second. Got to get to the microphone. All right. So hopefully you can hear me. Yeah. Oh, you don't like the numbers in the wrong order? Oh, yeah. The scan and cut cuts all kinds of stuff. So if you've never cut paper with it, try cutting paper. It's fun. So it's both places. Somebody asked if it's on the website. You can get it both places. If you're on the downloadable Canvas Workspace, it's in there. Or you can go to canvasworkspace.brother.com and log in there, and it's there. Okay. So either way, you can get it. And it's free, and you can just download. It has all the parts, and it has the instructions, and we'll make it together. So it's not hard. It was just a little time consuming. Okay. So now we're going to go on to the project at hand here, which is our October embroidery on our table topper. So for some of the new people, the way we've been doing these table toppers, this is the original older versions, the original older ones that are in this book. Okay. And these were originally sewing patterns. So they didn't have any embroidery designs. So in this book, you'd notice that there was actually, if I get it open to the right page here, there was actually places where you could trace out, and then you did machine applique for the corners. Later on, they added these embroidery designs to them. So these are pieced. So last week's class, we pieced this table topper, and then I quilted it. So I sandwiched it with my batting and my backing, and then I quilted it first. So this has all been quilted. And then we're going to put our embroidery through the whole thing. Okay, so this way we could quilt it all before we did the embroidery. If you are new and you need to find the embroidery part of this, if you go to youtube.com and go to my channel, Sew Along with Jan, it will be under the playlist Kimberbell Cuties. Okay, and there's a quilting video in there, and it shows how I quilted this, which I quilted it with the clear blue tiles. You can quilt it any way you want, but I like to use the clear blue tiles. Okay, so I quilted this last week. And if I turn it over, give me a second here. If I turn it over, you can see, it's quilted, obviously. I have black polka dots on this one. And you can see where I have used the matching embroidery thread on the back so that it goes through the back. So some of my hats, of course, are black, so they don't show as much, but then there's two that are purple. Okay. All right. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to put matching embroidery thread in the bobbin. So I have my purple. We're going to do our purple hat. I've got my purple embroidery thread on my bobbin, and I'm going to put this in my standard bobbin case. Okay, because I don't have a pre-wound in here. I wound this myself. So we're going to put that in the bobbin, and I'm going to use my purple thread, my matching purple thread on the top. So here's my purple thread. This is number 614 purple. I wasn't very inventive. It was just purple that matched the thread or the fabric the best. So we'll thread up the machine here. Okay. Then what we're going to do is you've noticed that I've got the bottom part of my hoop in here, and I'm using my 6x10 dime snap hoop. I like to use the snap hoops when I do this kind of stuff because I'm not using any stabilizers. So when we did this, whoops, second here, got a hold of my little, I may have to put a little bit of glue there because I just grabbed it. Okay. So after I quilted this, okay, I am not putting any stabilizer in here because remember when we pieced this last week, we put a piece of shape flex on here, which will help stabilize this section where we're going to do the quilting. Okay. So I don't use any stabilizer in these, and we're going to sew through all the layers and put the pretty color on the back. So it's going to look really nice. I made a template, and I like to print these. So I just opened this up in my software, and you can open it up in any software. If you don't have software, go download the dime free embroidery tool shed, and you can open up your design in there and just print out a template. So I just have my template printed out, and I use the dime print and stick target paper. I like this because it has a light tacky on the back, and you don't have to like put tape on the back. And if you don't have this, you can sure use a piece of regular paper and just put tape on the back. But I really like the template tearaway, the print and stick target paper. Floriani's called template tearaway, by the way. I just like this because there's just a real light tacky on it, so I don't have to use tape. So that's what I have this printed on. I just printed it at full actual size, and then I printed it with using the little grid lines so that I could have the grid lines to help me get it lined up. And we're going to use the snowman tonight. So you see I have my little snowman sticker stuck on here. So we're going to use the snowman. Okay. The other thing we have to do with these, since the way these are actually made to be done is after you piece the inside part of the table topper, before you put the borders on, you're supposed to do the embroidery. And then, of course, you would have had to free motion around the hats. Well, Jan doesn't do too well with free motion. So that's why I did it this way, so that we're going to sew through the whole thing. With that being said, when you print this out, there's a line along the edge. So let me show you on the machine here when I get my design up. Let's get the design up here. So it's on my stick. Let's see here. It's under Kimberbell Cuties, and it's called Witch's Hat, I believe. Witch's Hat, I think. Right? Yeah, witch hat. Okay, so here's our hat. So I'm going to bring that up on the screen, and I'm going to set it. And you can see, I don't know if it'll let me get rid of the red line, but there's a red line. Can you see it over here? There's a red line right there. That is like a placement line. Okay. Yes, you can print on most anything. Anything that is, I like this because it has tacky on it, and I don't have to tape it down somehow. If you have something else, you can print on something else. That's fine. Or just regular, printer paper works just fine. All right. So anyway, that little line that's there is like a placement line, and that is used when we were doing it the other way. Like if you were to do this before we put the borders on and before we quilted. So what I did with my template is, you can see that you can't see that line on here. So what I did is I removed the 1/4 inch seam allowance that we already have in our border. We sewed this together already. So there's a 1/4 inch seam allowance that needed to come off. So I cut that off on my template right here. I cut a 1/4 inch from that line so that I could get my hat in the right spot in my corner. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off the little carrier sheet, and I've already got that little line cut off, and I'm going to lay my hat. So you can see, did you notice how my hat was laying here? Kind of tipped this way. So you know you're getting it on right. I am going to lay this down along my seams here. And you can see I put my little lines or my little arrows so I remember what went in the corner. And I'm just going to lay this down right in that little corner on my seams. And then we know our little hat's going to be in the right spot. So just get it lined up along your border there. Okay. Like that. So now it's going to kind of stick up along here, and it looks a little high to me, so I must not have done very well with my placement. So I am going to put it down a little bit. Sometimes I don't do too well with my little placement here. So let's see if I can get everything in the right spot. There we go. That's looking better. You just have to kind of work it into the corner, get it stuck down. But that's why I like this template tearaway, because it really does, it does stick down, and then it doesn't move on you while you're trying to work with it. Okay. There we go. So there's our hat. Okay. And there's our little template. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn this. So this is the top. So if you saw our design on the screen, you know, we want our template to be laying in that same orientation. So there is the orientation. It's kind of tipped to the left. So my snowman is in the center of my template here. Okay. And the head is pointing up. Yes, I use this actually for all 8 of my hats. So I cut this out when I did my first one some months ago, and I'm still using it. So it's the same template. Yes, you can use it over and over. That sticky stuff lasts quite a while, and so I'm going to keep these, because if I have to do these again, then I'll still have the templates. I got all my templates in my box back there from all of them. Okay. So then we're going to go ahead and we're going to kind of get this close. I've already got the bottom of my hoop in here, like I said. Okay. We're going to get this kind of close to the needle position here. And I'm going to find my top part of my ring. Here it is. Here's the top of my hoop. And this is a 6x10 snap hoop. You can use a regular hoop. That's just fine. I just like to use these because they're easy to get in and out. So if you haven't gotten any of these hoops, these are awesome. All right, so I kind of wanted to find the middle of my design. Get a little closer here so you can see. And so that when I hoop, it's fairly close. We got a little wiggle room with this. It's only about 5.5 inches wide, so I got a little bit of wiggle room here. Oh, there's a little piece of paper here that's like a backing paper that I use. See how it's shiny on this side? Okay. And it's not shiny on this side. So I'm going to put it back on here to keep it safe. So then I can keep it. Okay. These snap hoops are similar to the brother ones, Sissy. But you have to take more parts off for the brother ones. So these are nice because there's just one piece on the top. So it depends on what you're doing. I think the brother ones are beautiful hoops, but they are a little more expensive than these, and then they have more pieces to remove. So I like them, but I had already owned all of these, so I have not purchased any of those. Okay, so I've kind of got it, I think, about where I need it. It may not be perfectly straight, but that's okay, because we can go over here, you know, and the snowman feature has been in the brother and baby lock machines for a long time, and like over 10 years. I mean, it's been since 2008, so 15 years it's been. Okay. And so in my machine, I'm going to hit the layout button, and here's my snowman. All right. I'm going to hit the snowman. I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to hit the word scan. And what it's going to do is it's going to line this up for me. Isn't that easy? And click OK. Now, for those of you who do have luminaires, this is my luminaire. Do you notice I've got a little exclamation point next to my little wireless thing here? That means there's an update. So there was a very recent update. So if you have not done that update, you may want to. Okay. All right. So see, it's finding the little snowman. Okay. And now it says remove the positioning mark. That's all there is to using the snowman. Isn't that easy? So I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to remove this. So now I'm ready to embroider and he's all lined up. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so then we'll put this back on my little sheet. There's my little sheet. Put it back on here and it sticks on here pretty well. What's not on yours, Jeff? Oh, you don't have the little exclamation. It may not have come through yet. Mine has been on for an hour or so, and that's why it probably came through. Sometimes it takes a little while. If you don't have it yet, it may just not have come through on your machine. So don't worry about it. It'll come through. All right. So we're ready to do our embroidery. I've got my purple thread in my needle, and I've got my purple thread in the top. Now this one only has a few steps. So I'm just going to use the purple embroidery thread in the bobbin for the whole thing because it's just a few steps. Yes, I believe that is what it's for. I think it's for the 7x12, the new magnetic hoop, so that the machine will read it. So I'm pretty sure that's what it's for. Okay. And I've got my fabric ready. I'm using my purple thread, and I'm just going to use one color of thread for this hat. All right. So the first step, let me get this so I can see it, was our placement line. Well, we don't need to sew that because we've already got it placed. We already know we don't need that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my little positive negative needle down here. And I'm going to go down to the second color. And this is going to be the placement line for our fabric. So now we're going to go over here. Okay. And we're going to sew out our placement line. I'll get my fabric ready, and I got to find my scissors because I think they hit the floor here. Just a minute. I have a tendency to drop my scissors. Yeah, the updates always have some sort of, they often have little fixes and different things on them. So yeah, I know one of the things is for the magnetic hoop. So all right, so there is our placement line. I'm going to lay my fabric, and I kind of wanted it to be, some of my fabric was a little bit directional. So what I did to keep it kind of straight is I used my little border up here to help me keep it from being crooked. I wanted it all. So then I'm going to make sure I got it all covered here. Oh, and then by the way, my fabric was 6 inches by 7 inches, which was plenty enough fabric. I made it plenty big so that it worked really easily. All right, make sure it's all covered here. I think we're good. Yep. All right. I'm going to pull this up just a little bit. There we go. All right. So then the next step, actually it's the third step, but it's the second step we're going to sew out, is going to be the tack down line for our hat. So is everybody liking the Wednesday nights? I kind of like them. I hope you are liking the Wednesday nights. I even had time to go to Costco tonight on the way home. I needed some stuff, and I thought, I don't like to go on Fridays to Costco. It's really scary at Costco on Fridays, especially Fridays when there's a home game. Yeah. So you like the Wednesdays? Okay, so there's our tack down line. I got to find my scissors, and I'm going to take my Ginger double curved 6-inch double curved scissors. I love these. These are up on the website, on the Shield Sewing Center website. If you don't have a pair of these are awesome. And they have really nice little points on them. So it's very easy to get close to the stitches. Now with these designs, I noticed that there's only a single stitch. So I'm going to pull this out very gently because it's just hard for me to get to it. You do want to be a little careful not to cut through your stitches. This was an older design, and they don't do double stitching around when they do their tack downs, and so you have to be a little careful not to cut through your stitches. So we're going to trim close, and they do have nice satin stitches, so they're nice and wide, so you don't have to be super duper close, but I usually try to stay pretty close. It's always hard to trim in front of the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, we got some we got some first timers in here. Oh yeah, Bernadette, you found me. Yeah, you emailed me, so I'm glad you found us. I'm hoping to also be able to go live on YouTube before too much longer. I have to sign up for a paid version of StreamYard, so that I'm hoping to be able to do that this next weekend. So yes, you could run your tack down twice. I usually don't, just because it's not that big of a deal, and if I'm careful, you know, but yes, you could. Most of the time when I digitize stuff like this, I always have it do a 2-ply or a double stitch. It'll go over it twice. But this was an older design, so they hadn't done that yet. Yes, you can cut these with your scan and cut. Honestly, with some of these designs are so simple, like these are pretty simple. I personally don't. I do use my scan and cut, yes, to do that. But I find these are so simple. It takes me longer to do all the cutting and everything and the heat and bond than it does for me just to cut it with the scissors. So sometimes I do. So now the next step is there's a little spider, and I just made my spider the same color. You could make it a different color. It has a stop there. And I just made mine the purple, okay? So if you wanted it to be gray or some other color, you could add a different color here. I just made mine the same color as my hats. So it has a little spider that dangles from the hat, the tip of the hat, okay? So there's our little spider, okay? Now the one thing I am gonna do here, give me just a second, I'm gonna pull this very carefully back. Okay, I'm going to tip this up again, and I normally don't tip it this way, but what I like to do before I do the satin stitches is if there's a bunch of little tails back here, I like to trim them off so that the satin stitches will cover everything. So I usually cut any kind of little tails and stuff off the back before I start. So I think that looks pretty good. That way it's more likely to cover with the satin stitching. So I think that looks pretty good. All right. And so I normally don't tip it up like this, but that's the only way I can let you see what I'm doing, okay? So if you're just careful and put it back in, it'll be fine. All right, so now we're going to slide this back in, and the last step is the satin stitching. So the hats go very quickly. So I'm going to leave my purple in. So I've still got the purple in the bobbin and the purple in the top. And now we're going to go around our hat. And then I'll show you how to do the decorations. So I already did my other hats on this one. Yeah, I always trim the back because I found that when I was using embroidery thread in the bobbin, sometimes the thread, it's a little thicker thread on the back, and I like to keep it neat on the back so that the back looks as pretty as the front, okay? So since we're sewing through the whole thing, I really wanted it to look nice. Let me grab the other one here while this is sewing so you can see. So that's why I always trim it, so. Okay. So here's one of the black ones on this one. And I just trimmed the little tail so you don't see a lot of little knots and stuff. And here's one of the purple ones. Okay. So you can see a little bit right here. I didn't trim very well right here. So I'll do a little more trimming there on this one. All right. I like I kind of like the back being the same. And it was just a way that I could quilt it easier. I'm just not a very good free motioner. So, you know, the way you should be doing this is like quilting it after everything's all embroidered and everything and then doing free motion. Well, that doesn't always work well for me. So that's why I came up with this little idea. And I think it looks nice having the back. You know, the back looks interesting. Some of them have more colors on them than others, you know, and I think it looks really good. No, for somebody asked if you could pull the bobbin thread up. Not really. You can, but you can't. So the Brother Baby Lock machines automatically bury the thread in the back with the first few stitches of the design, no matter where it comes from. It just always does that. And so you're always going to have that little burying thing. So if you try to pull your bobbin thread up, it's still going to try to bury. The only way you can get around it is to like fast forward through about 5 or 6 stitches. And I always mess it up. So it's just better just to let it do its thing. I find that I have less mess on the back of my stuff if I just let the machine do its thing and not try to make it do something different. So that's my if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of, you know, advice. So I don't think these look bad. I do the same thing when I'm doing the quilting on the back. You know, I don't have a lot of knots on this, but I don't try to like pull the threads up and stuff. I've done a lot of edge to edge quilting on the embroidery machine, and I've just found that just let the machine do its normal thing instead of, because like when I started doing the edge to edge from Amelie Scott, and I really like those a lot, she said to you to pull your bobbin thread up like you would maybe on a long arm. And I also have a long arm, and I do that with the long arm. But the machine still works the same way the machine works, and it tries to make that knot on the back, and it was actually more of a mess on the back by pulling the bobbin thread up. So I learned what I do generally is I try to kind of match my backing on things. What did I use to quilt this? This is in the clear blue tiles, and it is called, it's the fall one. So you can see it was just the fall one. You can see the little candy corns in there. Okay. And it was just in the clear blue tiles set. It was the fall one. You could quilt it. Somebody asked if you could quilt it after the hats are on, and yes, you could. I don't like to put quilting over my appliques because I really notice the quilting on the appliques. So often the fabric is more contrasting than my thread. So like for instance, this thread is kind of a very light gray. You probably can't see that. So it kind of blends in to my backgrounds, but it would really show on those purple and black hats. So I don't like that on my appliques. I normally don't quilt over appliques. And then Kimberbell also, I've done a lot of Kimberbell, and they have a tendency to use unusual appliques like embroidery leather or vinyls, and I don't want to quilt over that type of thing. Okay. Now, I do have my quilt next to me, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I'll show you. Here is one that I did do differently. This is my 'Tis the Season quilt. And if I turn the camera, okay, if you can see the quilting here on my quilt, this was quilted over the embroidery. But this embroidery is just sewing, and it's kind of an open pattern. So, you know, you really cannot see the quilting in the embroidery. It just goes over the top. So that was an exception. I actually did that with this. And I think it looks really nice. It doesn't distract from the embroidery at all. So yeah, so somebody says about the Amelie Scott. So yes, Amelie Scott, what I do is I choose my threads carefully, and generally what I like to do is try to match my back fabric so that it's not horribly contrasting on the back, because then you don't see knots on the back. So I kind of always choose my I want it to look nice on the top too, but I kind of look at my backing so that I choose a thread that isn't too contrasty for my back to show the really bad knots. Oh, that the Christmas quilt is called, it's from Claudia's Creations. It's called 'Tis the Season. If you go onto the group, for those of you who are new, if you go down a little bit, I posted a full picture of it a couple of weeks ago. But isn't that pretty? And I did the pattern. The pattern for the design was called Curly Edge to Edge. That's what the long arm pattern is. Curly Edge to Edge. But the pattern for the design is called 'Tis the Season from Claudia's Creations. So that's why I like the clear blue tiles, because then, see, with these, I quilted it that way, and then I can quilt and not have quilting over my appliques. But you can do it the other way if you like, whichever way works for you, okay? So it looks like we're about done. See, these go quick. We're going to have a really quick class tonight, but we'll talk about the bow maker and all that too. So these go very quick. So it's just around the hat. These older ones, Amanda, no, because these are not done that way. These are pieced traditionally. So they're really not, you really can't do block by block. I suppose you could if you quilted every single piece, but these were easier to piece and then quilt and then do the embroidery, I thought, just because they're not done by block. They're done as the whole pattern. It's a traditional pattern. So that's what's different about these. All right, so guess what, everybody? We're done. There's our hat. And see, it looks pretty on the back. So here's the purple on the back. Turn it out there. And then we got a few little strings here. So I'm going to, and don't cut through the knots, just trim the little strings off so they don't show. Got a couple down here that needed to be trimmed. So I'm just going to trim those off. And then you don't see those knots on the back. And it looks really nice. Okay. I kind of like the color on the back. All right. So there's our hat. What do you think? Isn't that easy? And I did all four. So here's my other one. So I've got some of the hat bands on already. I think one of these I'm going to have to put a little more glue on. I kind of caught it when I put it in the machine. But we're going to put this little hat band on now. Okay. I like them done this way. This worked out really well. And I thought it was attractive with the backing. Like the other one, where'd my other one go here? Oh, here it is. See, this one I did in orange. So this is the pumpkins for next time. So this one's done in orange. And then I did the tops, the stems in brown on the back. And I think that looks very attractive. You know, it's not ugly on the back. It's pretty colored. And then here's my front. Okay. And I didn't use any stabilizer. So and then they stay soft. That's the other thing I liked about this method. The quilt as you go method, generally everything is much stiffer. These are traditionally pieced, and then you do the embroidery, and there's no extra stabilizer in there. So they're more supple. You know, they're softer, more like a traditional quilt. So I like quilting with my embroidery machine, but I like them to feel like a real quilt. Okay. Yes, there's shape flex in the corners, just shape flex, but there's no extra stabilizer, is what I meant to say. There's not like no-show mesh or something in there too. It's just
It's just the shape flex in the corners. Okay. And I just, these feel more like traditional embroidery. I'm not a real big fan of the Quilt As You Go. I do really like the Quilt As You Go for my pillows, because that works really well. And then the back, you know, you can't see the pillows anyway. So these I just really like, because I would like to be able to see the quilting through the back of my quilt. Okay. So this one, yeah, this one's going to be fun. We're going to do this one next month. Okay. So did that answer that question, I hope? All right. So we are ready to do some hat bands here. Now, in the instructions, yes, I feel that the quilt as you go method it does make your quilts kind of stiff. Now, see, this one's a little loose, so I'm going to have to put a little bit of glue on there again, but we'll do that in a minute. No, I did not use heat and bond light on the appliques because I trimmed these in the hoop. These were trimmed in the hoop. I did not cut them out in advance, Marcia. So I just trimmed these right in the hoop. So I did not put anything on the back of the fabric. Sometimes I put shape flex on my appliques. It depends on what kind of fabric I have underneath, but I didn't on these. Okay, so we need to make some hat bands. Now in the instructions, I'm going to go back to my instructions here if I can find the right page. It says something about adding ruffles, and they told you to cut a piece of fabric 3/4 by 7 inches. Well, then I was going to have raw edges, and I have this thing about raw edges. I don't like raw edges on stuff. They do a lot of raw edge stuff, and I'm not too fond of that. So what I did is I found some really cute. I'm not sure if I've ever, I don't know what you're talking about, Lynn. I'm sorry. Is that a new product that's like for like applique? Is that for applique, the whatever you said? Yeah, I didn't like the raw edges. So what I did here, let me make sure that my glue gun is over here hot. I think it is. Yep, okay. So what I did is I took some 3/4 inch ribbon. And this is some of the Kimberbell ribbon that has the little crocheted edges on it. And it's about 3/4 of an inch wide. Okay. And I've got my packages here. So this was the lime green. Okay. And it has 3 sizes in it. And I love this ribbon because it really makes pretty bows and stuff. So I used this little narrow one down here, and I cut it 7 inches long, and it's about 3/4 of an inch wide. Donna, I'm not sure what you're asking. You mean the zipper bag? Do you mean the candy wrapper zipper bag? Is that what you're talking about? I did that a couple weeks ago. It's up on YouTube. Okay. So what I wanted to do then, so what it tells you to do, you know, is to gather it. Well, I did gather mine, and I just took a needle and thread, and I made a knot on one end here. Okay. And then I'm going to gather this up. So I'm just going to kind of put this up here on my hat, and I'm going to gather, and I did turn under the ends. You can see I turned it under so that it wouldn't have a raw edge on the end. Okay. All right. So I'm going to pull this up, and we're just going to gather this up until it matches the size of our hat here. And it does gather quite a bit, actually. These little, so I kind of put it here on the edge of the hat, and then over to the other edge. So once you kind of get it, the side, whoops, looks like I got it turned though. A second here. I think I got it turned upside down. I got to straighten it out here. There we go. There we go. Got my needle on the other end yet. So I just went through and did a little running stitch through there. All right, that looks pretty good, about the right size. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over here then with my needle, and I'm going to put a knot in the other end here so that it'll stay put where I want it. And you could do your running stitch on the sewing machine if you wanted. I just did it. They were so short. I just did them quick with my needle and thread. All right, so that looks about the right length there. And we'll rearrange it just a little bit more. Yep, just did a basting stitch. Or you mean on the sewing machine? I just use like I just make my stitch length like 5, and then just do a straight stitch, and that works too. I just did these with my hand though because they were so short. Okay, so now the next part of this, let's see if I've got, get him organized here. He got turned around again on me. There we go. Okay, so I want to make sure that these little ends, there's a couple of these little ends of the cotton or the crocheted edge that are kind of sticking up. So I'm going to take my glue gun and I'm just going to put just a little bit of glue on the back here to kind of stick those down and get them anchored so that they don't show. The raw edges don't show there. I'm just going to stick it down there like that. Okay. Then I'm going to make sure that I don't have this all twisted. And the easiest way for me to put these hat bands on, what I did is I just kind of got the little raw edges done first on both ends. I did those little, the crocheted edge is going to be kind of raw on the edge. And so I just took a little bit of glue, maybe if it goes out, and just stuck these ends in underneath so they wouldn't show like that. Just stuck them down in the glue. Maybe they'll go. There we go. Just stick them down so that they're underneath so they won't show. Okay, and then, whoo, got a piece of glue getting me here. And then what I did to make it easier to hang on to these is what I did is I kind of went up here to the edge of my hat. You get just a little closer here for you. Ooh, I got glue on my nose. There we go. And so I put a little glue right over here on the edge just to anchor it down so I could get it organized. It was a little hard to hang on to, so I just kind of took a little bit of glue here. And I just do these with hot glue. You could do it, you could sew them on if you wanted to. I don't usually wash this kind of stuff, so I so often do things with hot glue. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of organize my ruffle so that it looks nice. Oops, I still got a little piece sticking out over here. Let's see if we can get that anchored down here. We'll put a little more glue down here. See if I can get it pushed down. I got this little piece of the crochet lace sticking up. There we go. I've still got a piece of glue that's like attached to me and it will not let go. You know, that hot glue, that's the only bad thing about it. It just sometimes will not let go of you. All right. It's still on my hand. There we go. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Okay. So then I can kind of arrange my ruffles a little bit so that they look nice. Okay. And then we can glue this down across. So you can kind of see it starts over here and it's going to end on this side over here. Okay. And then we're just going to glue that down. But the ribbon worked better for me. I didn't care for the, I'm just going to kind of do a line from, you know, where I know it's going to kind of stop with my glue. And then we'll just lay it down in there. Like that. May have to do a little bit more on the end here. And need a little bit more glue under here, I think. Like that. There we go. And get that all lined up. Then I spend a half an hour getting rid of all the little glue lines. Okay, so there is our hat band. I'm just going to push it down into the glue, make sure it's all down like that. So there's our little hat band. Isn't that cute? And I did the other ones like that. Now one of these was a little loose. I think I caught it with my foot. Let me see which one it was here. Might just glue it down a little bit. I think it was this. Oh yeah, it was this one. Yeah, I really like the ribbon. I don't care for raw edge stuff. Um, so that's how they tell you in the instructions to do it. But I liked the ribbon. And I had this is ribbon. I love this crochet ribbon. It's so pretty. And they have several different colors. They have red, kind of a tan, the purple, and then red, tan, and then the green. I think they have 3 different colors. All right. So I think we got our hat bands. What do you think? So there's our hat bands. Make sure they're all stuck down. This one stick down okay, or is it loose? No, I think it's okay. All right. So there's our hat bands. So we got all 4 of them done. All right. So now we need to have a few little ribbons. So we're going to put some ribbons on here. And I don't know if you can see here. Does the hot glue wash well? I don't wash these usually, Marcia. If they come off, I have washed hot glue, and if it comes off, you can always glue it back on again. It's not like you can't. So if it comes off, just glue it back on again. But I don't normally wash these kind of things. Really, they're samples, so I don't wash them much. Okay. So now we're going to put in these little ribbons. And the ribbons, you can see I kind of did them in different places. Like this one's kind of over on the right. This one's kind of over on the left. So I think I did the purple ones towards the right and the black ones towards the left of the hat band. So I put them in different positions. Okay. So let's see what we can do with these then. I'll lay it down here so I can see it. All right, so the purple ones we did kind of on this side. All right, so the ribbon is also from Kimberbell. Some of these ribbons actually might be discontinued now. Yeah, you could use fabric glue too, and fabric glue does stay on quite well in the wash. I'm too impatient to wait for it to dry. So yes, fabric glue would also work, but I have a little trouble waiting long enough for it to dry, and the hot glue is dry almost instantly. So whichever works for you. Okay, so here is the ribbon I had. This was Kimberbell too, and it had 3 different ribbons on it, and I just like the ones with the little, they have little spiders on them. So it's orange and it had little spiders on it. I thought it was really cute. Okay, so here is our ribbon. So we're going to go ahead, and I tied one, but I want to show you how this little bow maker works. So this is up on my website. Whoop, there goes my Christmas tree. Just a second, I knocked over my Christmas tree. Okay. So here's my bow maker. Yeah, some people use Elmer's glue, and that works pretty well. It is water soluble. So yeah, so I know people do that all the time. That sounds like it might have been an interesting class, Sissy. All right, so the bow maker. If you've never seen this, I do have a video on YouTube about the bow maker, and a friend of mine, Orlin, makes these for me. And it's just it's a block with a bunch of holes in it, and then you have these 2 little sticks. So if you have trouble tying bows, this is the way to make these beautiful bows. So I have a really nice bow here, and I could never do that by just tying it. So the bow maker is awesome. So I cut these pieces of ribbon. I think I cut them 9 inches long. These were 9 inches long. And I just cut my ribbon. These are about 3/8 inch wide or so. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I have my 2 little posts here, and I left 1 hole in between. And I'm going to put this around the back, and I've got 1 end, and this is going to be a little shorter end. And this is just going to be a single bow for this. And then I'm going to cross them over like this, and I'm going to stick this piece up underneath. and pull it over. So the way this works, this is actually the front of the bow back here. We're working on the back, okay? So when I get ready to tie this, I want to, this is single-sided ribbon. You know, there's nothing on the other side. So you got to make sure that the pretty side's going to show when you tie it. So I'm going to turn this part right here over so that the bad part is towards me. Okay. And then I'm going to flip this over. Okay. And I want both bad sides of the ribbon towards me because remember the front's back here. Okay. Yeah, but these are on my website on sew-along-with-jan.square.site. And that's my website. And these are on there and they're $20. Okay. All right. And there is my little ribbon. And see, that way I have the same color on the front. Okay. And you do have to practice this a little bit. It is, you know, you got to practice a little bit. Pull them real tight. And this grosgrain ribbon is a little harder to get tight than like softer ribbon. So if you haven't done too many of these, start with some softer ribbon because then it's just a little easier to work with. This is very stiff. Okay. So use a softer ribbon to start with, like maybe organza ribbon, or satin ribbon, because then it would be a little easier to work with. Okay. So there's one bow. Okay. And we'll trim up the ends so they look nice. All right, so let's do another one. So here's another one here. Kind of have to look at my little spiders. Maybe I'll get them right side up. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to go like this. This end, I'm going to flip it over. Now, if you are right-handed, you're going to probably start with this side and go the other way. I'm left-handed, so I'm going to be doing this the opposite way. So if you need to do it right-handed, the short end is going to be on the left, and then it's going to flip under. I can tie right-handed too if I have to, okay? But I like to do, I'm left-handed, so I usually do it the other way. So whichever way works for you. You'll naturally just tie it the way that works for you. Okay, so I got the back over. This is the longer piece. And then I want the bad side towards me with the short piece over here. So when I go to tie this, that all of the ugly side is towards me. The back of the ribbon is towards me. I have to get it. Oops, he isn't coming through. These are not any too long. I didn't have hardly enough ribbon, so I had to kind of economize my ribbon. Yes, it's like having extra fingers. That's what's nice about the bow maker. And then you just tie this really tight. And then when you flip it over, see, it's a beautiful little bow. So there's our bow. Isn't that pretty? Yeah, these were great. So I make porcelain dolls for some of you who are new that didn't know this. I make porcelain dolls. So this is how I learned to make bows because my teachers all had these lovely bow makers and they made me a bow maker. So here I'm going to flipping it over again. Just one time. And when we make the bows for the next one, we're going to be doing a different kind of bow. Yes, so all the different sizes here. So depending on how far away you have the bow or the little dowels, it'll make your bows bigger. Okay. So we're going to be using this in November and in December to make bigger bows. But I've always made, you know, our dolls needed lots of ribbons, like for their hair and different things. So my teachers that I had taught me how to make ribbon or make bows this way, because I've never been good at tying bows. And so this works really slick. And you can make all kinds of different kinds of bows. This is a basic one, but we'll be doing fancier ones the next 2 months, okay? All right, so I'm going to pull this tight like that. And there is my little bow. Yep, so I've made dolls for years and years since I was in my 20s. Whoops. Make sure I didn't untie that. Sometimes, see, this ribbon is very stiff, so it's a little hard to keep it tight. But when we glue it down, it'll stay tight. Because we're going to be gluing it down, so it'll be fine. There we go. So there's another one. So this one's a little long in this end, but we'll get it. Okay. Yeah, that works too. If you have a board and nails, that works too. But I've always used this little bow maker. Orland made me bow makers. And then also he made them so that there was different sizes of dowels. So that also makes your ribbons bigger if you have thicker dowels. Let me grab it here. Okay, so if you have thicker dowels, yes, instructions come with the bow maker. So it's like, here's some thicker dowels. So if you're using real thick ribbon, use these thicker dowels and they fit in here. And then you could be making really large ribbons like this, see? You know, and then you take these two out. I use these for the little narrow ribbon. And then you can make great big bows. And then you can wrap it around as many times as you want. So there is a video on YouTube. If you go onto my YouTube channel and just do the little search and search for bow maker, okay, then you can watch me make some bows on that video. I did like a 15 or 20 minute video on just making bows with different sizes. But the next 2 months we'll also use the bow maker, and we'll be using different sizes of ribbon and doing different types of bows. Okay, so we'll do that too. All right, so now we're gonna put our bows on here. So this one I kind of put over here on this side. So I'm going to put a little glue on the back of my bow here. And we'll put this on this side of our hat. And it's nice, the handmade ones are nice because they're wood, and you know, these are all nice wood ones. Okay. So there's that bow. And then I'm going to take my scissors, if I can find them here. We'll clean up our ends here. Angle our ends up a little bit so they look better. Like that. Okay. Go around, do the other ones here. Yeah, I like the little, and then this one, I think I did it the other way. Yeah, this one I did on this side. So let's do these the same way. So we'll do it like this. Put it kind of over on this side of the hat so it makes them look a little different. But the glue also helps hold it together on the back because it's kind of, this ribbon's kind of stiff. And again, you could sew these on too, or use fabric glue. Okay, and then we'll get my scissors again and we'll fix our ends so they're all beautiful. Of course, I have to do my yes, you could. I usually just glue. I like to kind of glue it on so I can kind of see how long I want the tails before I trim them. So that's why I usually do them at the end. Okay, and then we're going to do this one here. Yeah, this one's been really fun. I just have to do my binding, and I've got polka dots for the binding, so I have to do the binding. I'll try to get that done tomorrow. Because this one's for Judy. Then she'll have her Halloween. She loves Halloween, so I'm sure she's anxious to get this one. So this is for Judy. All right, so we'll do the ends here. Like that. And then this one we did that one kind of over here, and then this one we did on the left. So we'll turn this one, and we'll do this one. These have been really fun. I've really enjoyed the table toppers. They're all different, and I just really like these older ones. I just thought they were so cute. They've been really fun. I like to piece, and I don't get to piece very often, so these have been really fun. So I've gotten to sew. We're going to do more sewing next year, by the way. I've got a bunch of little ideas for next year. We're going to do embroidery, of course, too, but I've got some sewing projects we're going to do. Yes, the ribbon has little spiders on it. It's orange with little spiders. All right. So there is our little bows. I don't think I did a very good job on this one. So let's see if I can get it here. I couldn't get the angle. Turn it this way and see if I can get my angle a little bit better. There we go. All right. So there are our bows. Aren't those cute? And then I'll trim this off and I will put the binding on tomorrow. And then we'll be all done with another month. This one has polka dots, black with orange polka dots on the back, and the other one was striped on the back. This is my binding. I do have the same binding, so this is my binding, the polka dots here. And this one has black and orange stripes on the back, so they were a little different. All right, so what do you think of that? Aren't those fun? Very fun projects. Yeah, I like the new ones too, but not as well as these. I just really, really wanted to make these, and I thought these were just adorable. I've had so much fun, and it was kind of fun to figure out a different way to do them so that I didn't have to quilt. So excuse me, I've got a dry throat. I'll take a drink. So I won't cough at you, hopefully. There we go. I think I've got my voice back. I'm starting to anyway. I get a dry throat when I talk, so okay. All right, so let me turn up my camera here. I love the toppers. Oh yeah, yeah. It's nice to have them all for each month, isn't it? All right, so let's go ahead and turn the camera up, and we're going to have a drawing. All right, you get my video. Sorry about my throat. I have such a dry throat tonight. I'm sitting here in front of the fan, and sometimes that makes me dry. All right. Yeah, some of the new ones. So if I do the new ones, I've thought about doing the new ones. And if I do the new ones, don't think I'm going to do them this next year. I think we might do them the year after, but I'm going to do them a different way. So I have a different idea. Where is Gigi? Gigi is sleeping on her tuffet in front of the window. She's over in front of me. So, but I think I might do them a different way. So they're more like these. And I haven't had a chance to try it. So I think I am going to try one the way I'm thinking in my head that it will work. And then they would be softer and not so stiff. Okay. So now we're going to have a drawing. I got to find my drawing here. Okay. So we're going to draw for, everybody's been making lots of nice comments tonight. So we're going to draw for, with a grateful heart, we give thanks for the little banner here. Okay. And if you are for those of you who are new, because I know there's a few new people tonight, if you are from away from here, if you win, please personal message me your mailing address and I will mail this to you. Okay. And if you're local, you can come pick it up at one of the stores. Okay. So this will be the gift tonight. Yes, this is a Janine Babish. This is Janine Babish. Yep. I love her stuff. I love the size banners. We might do some of these this year. I just love the size because they're a little bigger and they have some extra stuff we can do with them. So we may do a couple more of these this year too. I love these because I need some more to put in I have them in my living room and I need a few more to add to my collection. I don't have too many of these. So, okay. All right. So this is going to be the prize tonight. So let me get my tablet. Yeah, all of her designs. I love all of her designs. All right, so I'm going to mix up the tablet over here and I will put my finger down on somebody's name, okay? All right. So everybody's been doing such a good job making comments tonight. All right, I'm going to put my finger down. And I put my finger down on Carol Kern. Carol, you are the winner. I talked to Carol today on the phone. So Carol, you're the winner of the banner tonight. So I bet you want me to ship it to you, right? Carol? Yep. So Carol Kern.
is the winner tonight. I talked to her on the phone today. All right. So Carol, I have your address, but can you just personal message me? Because I usually look at my phone. So can you do that tonight? Just personal message me and then I will mail it to you. Okay. All right. So next week we're going to do the little, where'd it go? We're going to learn how to create this in Design Center. We're going to do this little, we're going to do the little ironing pad. We're going to do that in Design Center next week. Okay. And so if you need this, remember the link to this is in the group under the very featured post, the very first post. There's a Dropbox link. So that's where it is. And it's also under the video that I did of sewing it on Shields Live on YouTube. Okay. All right. So we're going to be doing this next week. So thank you very much for joining me tonight. And I'll see you next week to do a little bit of Design Center on the machine. So it's always fun to do that and make some projects that way. And I will see you then for that at 7 o'clock next Wednesday. Thanks, everybody. Have a nice evening.